For many decades, I have had the profound privilege of observing chimpanzees in their natural forest homes. These remarkable beings are our closest living relatives in the animal kingdom. Sharing so much of our DNA, they exhibit intelligence and emotional depth that continually astound us. One of the most captivating demonstrations of their cognitive prowess is their ability to use and even make tools. This is not a simple, unthinking behavior. Instead, it is a complex skill that reveals a mind capable of planning, understanding cause and effect, and even passing knowledge through generations. Studying their tool use opens a precious window into their world and perhaps into our own ancient past. It is a journey of discovery that reminds us how interconnected life on this planet truly is. The early observations of chimpanzees using tools, particularly here in Gombe, sent ripples through the scientific community. It challenged the long-held belief that tool use was an exclusively human trait, a defining characteristic that set us apart. When I first saw David Greybeard carefully select a grass stem, trim it and use it to fish for termites, it was a groundbreaking moment. It forced us to reconsider what it means to be human and to acknowledge the sophisticated abilities of other species. This understanding underscores the importance of protecting these incredible animals and their habitats. Their tool-using behaviors are not mere curiosities. They are vital clues to understanding the evolution of intelligence itself, a story still unfolding before our very eyes. The ingenuity displayed by chimpanzees in their tool-related activities is truly something to behold. It goes far beyond simply picking up a convenient stick. They meticulously select materials, modify them to suit specific tasks, and demonstrate a clear understanding of the properties required for a tool to be effective. For instance, when they prepare to feast on termites, a favorite delicacy, the care they put into crafting their fishing probes is extraordinary. This is a testament to their problem-solving skills and their capacity for forethought. Each precise action, from choosing the right plant to stripping its leaves, speaks of an ancient wisdom, a deep connection with their environment that we are only just beginning to fully appreciate. As we stand here on this day, June 3, 2025, our journey of learning about chimpanzees is far from over. New research continually uncovers further layers of their complex lives and cognitive abilities. Each study, each patient hour of observation adds another piece to the intricate puzzle of chimpanzee intelligence and culture. The more we learn, the more profound our respect for these beings becomes. Their tool use is a shining example of their adaptability and resourcefulness, reminding us that the capacity for innovation is not solely a human prerogative. It is a shared heritage, a spark of brilliance that illuminates the diverse tapestry of life on Earth, urging us to protect it. Termite fishing is a fascinating and highly skilled activity among many chimpanzee communities. Termites, rich in protein and fats, are a valuable food source, but they are hidden deep within their complex fortress-like mounds. To access these nutritious insects, chimpanzees require specialized tools. They cannot simply rely on their fingers or teeth to break into the hard earth or navigate the narrow tunnels. Instead, they have developed an ingenious method using probes made from plant materials. This activity is not only a demonstration of their intelligence, but also a vital survival skill, showcasing their ability to exploit available resources through clever means. A true art form perfected over countless generations. The process of selecting the right material for a termite fishing tool is remarkably deliberate and precise. Chimpanzees do not just grab the first twig or blade of grass they encounter. They are discerning, carefully inspecting potential materials. Often they will travel some distance to find a plant with the exact properties they need. Recent research from Gombe Stream National Park in Tanzania, published in March 2025, has shed more light on this careful selection. Scientists have observed that chimpanzees specifically choose certain types of plants, and even specific parts of those plants, demonstrating a sophisticated understanding of their environment and the requirements of the task at hand. This careful consideration highlights their ability to plan and execute complex foraging strategies. During this selection process, chimpanzees can often be seen testing the potential tools. They might gently bend a stem to assess its flexibility or snap off a piece to check its strength. They will meticulously strip leaves from a chosen branch or vine to create a smooth, slender probe that can easily slide into the narrow termite tunnels without getting caught. This modification is a clear indication of tool manufacture, not just tool use. It shows that they have a mental template of the ideal tool and are capable of shaping raw materials to fit that template. This careful preparation is crucial for the success of their termite fishing expeditions, ensuring the tool functions effectively. Among the favored plant materials for these termite probes are species like Grewia spp. This preference is not arbitrary. These plants possess the specific mechanical properties that make them ideal for the job. The knowledge of which plants make the best tools is often passed down from mother to offspring, a form of cultural transmission. Young chimpanzees watch their elders intently, learning through observation and practice. This ability to learn and refine tool-making techniques is a hallmark of their intelligence and adaptability, allowing different communities to thrive by mastering the art of resource extraction in their unique environments, a testament to their enduring ingenuity. When we speak of engineering, we often think of human constructions, bridges and machines. Yet nature itself is filled with remarkable engineers, and chimpanzees certainly qualify when it comes to their tool-making abilities. The effectiveness of a termite fishing probe, for example, is not just a matter of its length or thickness. It heavily depends on its mechanical properties. These are the intrinsic characteristics of the material, such as its stiffness, strength, and crucially, its flexibility. Chimpanzees seem to possess an intuitive understanding of these properties, selecting materials that are perfectly suited for navigating the intricate and often winding tunnels within a termite mound, ensuring their foraging efforts are rewarded. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Science on March 24, 2025, by a team of researchers including those from the University of Oxford and the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology, provided compelling evidence for this intuitive engineering. The research, conducted in Gombe, focused specifically on the plant materials selected by chimpanzees for termite fishing. The scientists found that flexibility was a key determining factor. A tool that is too rigid might snap or get stuck in the narrow, twisting termite galleries. Conversely, a tool with the right amount of give can bend and weave its way through the passages, allowing the chimpanzee to effectively disturb the termites and entice them to bite onto the probe. Lead author Alejandra Pascual Garrido employed a portable mechanical tester to measure the flexibility of plant materials directly in the field. The results were striking. The plants that chimpanzees consistently chose for their termite fishing tools were significantly more flexible than similar-looking plants that they ignored. In fact, the study revealed that the unused plant materials were, on average, 175% more rigid than the selected ones. This quantitative data offers strong support for the idea that chimpanzees are not choosing their tool materials randomly. Instead, they are making informed decisions based on a crucial mechanical property that directly impacts the tool's performance, a clear example of their refined selection criteria. This careful selection for flexibility demonstrates a deep practical understanding of material science on the part of the chimpanzees. It suggests they have a mental model of how a good termite fishing tool should behave and can identify the raw materials that will meet these requirements. This is not simply trial and error, it is a sophisticated cognitive skill. This innate ability to assess and choose materials based on their physical characteristics is a form of natural engineering, allowing them to create tools that are perfectly optimized for their purpose. It is a profound example of how intelligence can manifest in the practical challenges of survival, showcasing their problem-solving capabilities. The term folk physics might sound a bit technical, but it simply refers to an intuitive, common-sense understanding of how the physical world works. It is the kind of knowledge that allows us to predict, without complex calculations, that a dropped apple will fall to the ground, or that a fragile glass will break if struck hard. Recent research strongly suggests that chimpanzees possess their own form of folk physics, particularly evident in their tool-using behaviors. This innate understanding of material properties and mechanics allows them to interact with their environment in surprisingly sophisticated ways, much like an intuitive scientist exploring the principles of the world around them. This intuitive grasp of physics is beautifully demonstrated in their selection of tools for termite fishing. As we have seen, chimpanzees deliberately choose materials with specific mechanical properties, such as flexibility. This choice is not accidental. It is based on an understanding that a flexible probe will be more effective at navigating the complex architecture of a termite mound. They seem to know, without formal instruction, that a rigid stick will likely snap or fail to reach the termites, while a pliable one will bend and follow the curves of the tunnels. This practical knowledge is fundamental to their success in this challenging foraging task, reflecting a deep-seated comprehension of physical principles. While termite fishing provides a clear example, this folk physics likely extends to other tool-using activities as well. Consider chimpanzees who use stones to crack open hard-shelled nuts. They must select stones of appropriate weight and hardness, and they must understand the mechanics of impact to successfully extract the kernel. They learn to position the nut on an anvil stone and strike it with a hammer stone with just the right amount of force. Now, this requires an understanding of concepts like mass, leverage, and fracture mechanics, all learned through observation, practice, and an inherent feel for how objects behave. Each successful crack of a nut is a small testament to their practical scientific mind. The presence of folk physics in chimpanzees is incredibly significant. It suggests that the cognitive foundations for understanding and manipulating the physical world are not unique to humans but have deeper evolutionary roots. This intuitive understanding forms the bedrock upon which more complex technological skills can be built. For early humans, this same kind of innate physics would have been crucial for developing the first stone tools and mastering fire. By studying this capacity in chimpanzees, we gain insights into the cognitive journey that eventually led to the advanced technologies we see today, highlighting a shared evolutionary pathway in understanding the material world. Section 5. A shared culture tool traditions, echoing across African forests. The concept of culture was once thought to be exclusively human, encompassing our shared beliefs, customs, arts, and social institutions. However, decades of research have revealed that culture, in its fundamental sense of socially learned and transmitted behaviors, is also present in other species, most notably in chimpanzees. Their tool-using traditions provide some of the most compelling evidence for this. Across the diverse forests of Africa, different chimpanzee communities exhibit unique sets of behaviors, including specific ways of making and using tools that are passed down from one generation to the next, forming distinct cultural patterns that define each group. One of the most fascinating findings in recent years, as highlighted by researchers, is the remarkable consistency in tool material preference across vast geographical distances. For example, the use of plants from the genus for termite fishing tools is not confined to a single chimpanzee population in Gombe. Instead, this specific preference has been observed in different chimpanzee groups located as far as 5,000 kilometers apart across the African continent. These communities are geographically isolated and have no direct contact, yet they independently converge on the same types of plant materials for the same task. This widespread similarity is truly extraordinary. What does this striking similarity across such distances suggest? It strongly implies a shared, deeply ingrained understanding of material properties that is not simply reinvented by each group in isolation. While independent discovery might account for some instances, the consistent selection of plants points towards a more profound phenomenon. It suggests that there is an optimal solution for this particular tool-making challenge, and that chimpanzees, through their intelligence and perhaps ancient shared predispositions, are able to identify and exploit these optimal materials. This hints at a fundamental chimpanzee knowledge about the natural world, which then becomes embedded in local traditions through social learning. The existence of these shared tool traditions across different populations underscores the stability and efficiency of cultural transmission in chimpanzee societies. Young chimpanzees learn these vital skills by closely observing their mothers and other experienced individuals. This social learning ensures that effective techniques are preserved and passed on, allowing each new generation to benefit from the accumulated wisdom of their predecessors. Understanding these cultural pathways is crucial, not only for appreciating the complexity of chimpanzee societies, but also for gaining insights into how early human cultures might have developed and spread, carrying knowledge across landscapes and through time. It speaks to a fundamental drive to learn, adapt, and share. Section 6. Ancient Connections: How Migration Wove a Tapestry of Tool Knowledge. The intricate web of chimpanzee tool use across Africa is not solely a product of isolated invention or parallel evolution. It has also been significantly shaped by the movements of chimpanzees themselves over vast timescales. A compelling study published in the prestigious journal on November 24, 2024, led by Cassandra Gunasekaram from the University of Zurich, has provided fascinating evidence suggesting that chimpanzee migrations over millennia have played a crucial role in facilitating the exchange of ideas and improving their tool-using skills. This research paints a dynamic picture of cultural evolution driven by connection and shared experience. The research team ingeniously combined two distinct lines of evidence. Firstly, they analyzed genetic data from numerous chimpanzee populations across Africa. This genetic information allowed them to trace ancient migration patterns, revealing how different groups have been connected or isolated over thousands of years. Secondly, they meticulously compiled observations of 15 distinct foraging behaviors, including various forms of tool use, from dozens of chimpanzee populations, encompassing 4 different subspecies. By overlaying these two data sets, the genetic pathways of migration and the geographical distribution of specific behaviors, they could investigate the link between connectivity and cultural complexity. The findings were truly illuminating. The study revealed a strong correlation between the presence of advanced tool use and historical connections forged by genetic exchange. Specifically, complex tool sets, such as the combination of sticks and modified plant stems for termite fishing, were more prevalent in populations that have been linked by migrations over the last 5,000 to 15,000 years. This suggests that when chimpanzee groups came into contact, even indirectly through migrating individuals, they had opportunities to observe and learn new techniques from one another. This exchange of knowledge likely spurred innovation and the refinement of existing tool-using behaviors, leading to more sophisticated cultural repertoires. Furthermore, the study highlighted that areas where different chimpanzee subspecies overlap, and thus where intergroup connections were likely more frequent or diverse, exhibited the most complex patterns of tool use. This supports the idea that cross-group interactions act as a catalyst for cultural development, fostering a richer pool of ideas and skills. In contrast, simpler behaviors such as foraging for certain foods without the aid of tools appear to have evolved independently in different populations, suggesting they did not require the same level of social transmission or intergroup learning. These ancient connections, therefore, have been instrumental in weaving the complex tapestry of chimpanzee tool culture we observe today. Section 7. From simple sponges to complex sets. The spectrum of chimpanzee ingenuity. Chimpanzee tool use is not a monolithic behavior. Rather, it exists on a fascinating spectrum of complexity, showcasing their adaptability and cognitive flexibility. Not all tool-using behaviors require the same level of planning, material selection, or modification. Researchers often categorize these behaviors into different levels, ranging from the use of simple, readily available objects to the creation and application of intricate tool sets designed for specific, challenging tasks. This variation across different populations and for different purposes highlights the depth of their problem-solving abilities and their capacity for both simple and more elaborate technological solutions, adapting to the unique demands of their environment. At the simpler end of the spectrum, we find behaviors such as using chewed leaves as sponges. Chimpanzees will meticulously chew a handful of leaves, not to swallow them, but to create a porous, absorbent mass. They then dip this leafy sponge into water sources that are otherwise inaccessible, such as water collected in a tree hollow, and suck the moisture from it. While this might seem straightforward, it still requires understanding the properties of leaves when chewed, that they can hold water, and the motor skills to create and use the sponge effectively. This type of tool use, though less elaborate, is a clever adaptation for obtaining a vital resource. In stark contrast to these simpler tools are the complex tool sets employed for tasks like termite fishing or ant dipping. Here, chimpanzees often use multiple tools or a single tool that has been significantly modified. For termite fishing, as we have explored, they select specific plant materials, trim them to the correct length and thickness, and sometimes even fray the end to make it more effective at capturing termites. Some populations even use a puncturing stick to create an initial opening in the termite mound, followed by a more delicate fishing probe. This sequential use of different tools for different subtasks represents a higher order of cognitive planning and understanding of process. Similarly, the use of stone hammers and anvils for nut cracking, sometimes involving anvil stabilizers, is another example of highly complex tool behavior. The evolution and maintenance of these different levels of tool use appear to be influenced by various factors, including the ecological niche and the opportunities for social learning. As the migration studies suggest, simpler behaviors, like leaf sponging, might arise independently in different groups as a direct response to environmental challenges. However, the development and spread of more complex tool sets often seem to benefit from cultural transmission and the exchange of knowledge between groups. This distinction underscores the importance of social learning for the accumulation of complex cultural traits, both in chimpanzees and, by extension, in our own evolutionary history, showing a gradient of innovation. Section 8. Echoes of our past. Chimpanzee tools and the dawn of human technology. Observing the intricate tool-using behaviors of chimpanzees does more than just deepen our admiration for these intelligent animals. It provides us with invaluable echoes of our own distant past. As our closest living relatives, chimpanzees offer a unique comparative perspective, allowing us to formulate hypotheses about the potential cognitive and behavioral capacities of early hominins, our ancient human ancestors. The ways in which chimpanzees select, modify and use tools can serve as a living model, helping us to understand the foundational steps that may have led to the remarkable technological journey of humankind, a journey that began with simple modifications of natural materials. The deliberate selection of plant materials for termite fishing based on specific mechanical properties such as flexibility is a particularly compelling parallel. It is plausible that early hominins, much like chimpanzees today, began their technological journey by developing an intuitive understanding of their environment, a folk physics applied to the materials around them. They would have learned through observation and experimentation which types of wood were strong enough for digging sticks, which stones were sharp enough for cutting, or which materials were pliable enough for weaving or binding. This growing understanding of material properties would have been a critical precursor to more sophisticated tool manufacture. Furthermore, the evidence for cultural transmission of tool knowledge among chimpanzees, especially how migrations and intergroup connections facilitate the spread of complex tool skills, resonates strongly with theories about the development of early human technologies. It is widely believed that the social learning, the ability to learn from others, was a key driver of human cultural evolution. The exchange of ideas and techniques between different hominin groups would have allowed for the accumulation of knowledge and the refinement of tools over generations. What we see in chimpanzee communities, the sharing of innovations across social networks, could mirror the processes that enabled early humans to develop increasingly complex technologies and adapt to diverse environments. Adam van Kasteren, commenting on recent findings, rightly noted the important implications for understanding human evolutionary pathways. Of course, it is essential to remember that chimpanzees are not simply static relics of a past human stage. They have their own distinct evolutionary trajectory. However, the parallels in their cognitive abilities, particularly in problem-solving, tool use and social learning, are too significant to ignore. They provide us with a tangible framework for exploring the kinds of selective pressures and cognitive capacities that might have spurred the initial stages of technological advancement in our lineage. By studying their ingenuity, we gain not only a deeper respect for chimpanzees, but also a richer, more nuanced perspective on the long and complex story of human origins and our own technological ascent. Section 9. The future of discovery, unanswered questions and the ongoing quest for knowledge. Our understanding of chimpanzee tool use and culture has grown immensely over the decades, yet the journey of discovery is far from complete. As with any profound scientific inquiry, each answer often uncovers a host of new and intriguing questions. There are still many challenges in studying these elusive and complex beings. The window of direct scientific observation is relatively short, spanning just over a century, which is a mere blink in evolutionary time. Moreover, many of the tools chimpanzees use, such as sticks and plant stems, are perishable. Unlike the durable stone tools left by early hominins, these organic artifacts rarely survive, making it incredibly difficult to trace the evolution of their tool traditions through an archaeological record. Despite these challenges, the quest to understand the minds and cultures of chimpanzees continues with great enthusiasm, fueled by new technologies and evolving research questions. Future research aims to delve deeper into aspects such as memory, experience, and the capacity for innovation in non-human primates. How do individual chimpanzees remember which plants are best for tools or the location of a particularly good termite mound? How does personal experience shape their tool-making skills? And how readily do they innovate or adopt new techniques they observe? A particularly fascinating area is understanding precisely how young chimpanzees acquire these complex skills. What are the nuances of their learning processes? And do they apply similar material selection principles to other tasks beyond termite fishing? Researchers are also keen to explore the full extent of chimpanzee technological prowess. For instance, some chimpanzee populations in West Africa have already demonstrated advanced skills in using stone, hammers, and anvils to crack open tough nuts. Within these nut-cracking traditions, there is evidence of further innovations, such as the use of smaller stones as anvil stabilizers to improve the efficiency and stability of the cracking platform. Investigating the cognitive underpinnings of such innovations and whether they spread through social networks remains a key focus. Each discovery expands our appreciation for their capabilities and the subtle complexities of their societies, pushing the boundaries of what we thought possible for non-human minds. The ongoing commitment to this research is vital. Studies like the one published in March 2025, which was supported by funders such as the John Fell Fund, University of Oxford, and the Dennis Stanfield Memorial Fund from the Linnean Society of London, are crucial for continuing this important work. Ultimately, by striving to understand chimpanzees, we are also striving to understand ourselves and our place in the natural world. Protecting these extraordinary animals and their forest homes is not just a conservation imperative. It is essential for preserving the opportunity to learn from them, to glimpse the intricate workings of another intelligent mind, and to appreciate the rich tapestry of life with which we share this planet.